That, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of Gym Owners Podcast. I'm your host, the fast talking one, Tyler Stone. Over there's John Fairbanks. How you doing, John?
I'm good. I'm not as fast talking.
John's coming in low, like under caffeinated today. Is that the issue?
No, I just wanted to make sure we were playing into the same.
You can't come in on a podcast low energy. I've done it. You see a lot of these business podcasts. Some people come in and they just start talking, and it's like, oh, you were just having a boring conversation.
Now
you just like, okay, so I guess we'll hit record, and then you hit record, and it fucking sucks. It's one of the things I learned a long time ago. I've done a lot of podcasts over a lot of years, so we didn't mention this last time. It was like 504 or 5 or 6 or something like that. Now at this point, 5. Anyway, for me, John, how many are you at with your other ones now? You kind of got quite a few under your belt too.
Yeah, I'm about 225, 230.
Yeah. So, but the thing you learn is like, especially as you build an audience, is that people are listening at different times of the day and with different things in their lives. And there's always a thing I've learned from podcasts where we like that are not business related, where maybe we'll like party a little bit and crack some jokes. And it's like, yeah, if you're recording at 10 o'clock at night and you have a few drinks and you get a little fucked up and you're being a little funny and being a little edgy and being a little loud and getting obnoxious, like, and someone's listening to that at 6:35 in the morning as they're driving to work, like it fucking sucks for them. And they're like, this is dumb. This guy's being like, if they're not there with you, it's just not there. And so anyway, we got to bring the energy for some of you fools that are driving to work, that are in a commute, that are doing something very boring right now. I can't sit here and go, well, guys, today we're going to talk about
welcome to NPR
things. Yeah. Tonight we got these smooth sounds of the jazz messengers. And so no, guys, this week, welcome to Gym Owners Podcast. I'm Tyler John. Follow the show at the Gym Owners Podcast on Instagram. Follow me at Tyler F. and Stone. John is JBanksFL on Instagram. We'll get to the rest of the deets later. Links are in the description if you want any other stuff. Facebook group, our business coaching memberships, all sorts of goodies. So John and I were having a conversation about kind of like goals as an industry. It started out as like how bad the fitness industry is failing. And we've kind of touched on that a little bit in the past. Not failing financially, just failing the people who are there taking the money from, which I think it's not what extortion is. I don't know. You're just taking whatever it is, you're just stealing at this point. Then if we continue to extract money from the people and those people continue to not get the thing that they came to get, I think you're just like the fucking IRS with fitness. I don't get it. You're just taking, and I don't know where my tax money goes, but it certainly doesn't seem like it's staying anywhere near me. And I think the whole thing sucks. And I feel that way when I look at the growth of the fitness industry. They're talking to be nearly like I think the fitness, like the fitness side of it. It's like $100 billion industry nearly. And again, I don't see in my life that the people, just day to day, when I travel, when I go from city to city, and I spend more time in gyms as well, but just getting around, going to stores, going to restaurants, just being a person out in the world. I don't think that the populace is healthier. I think it's worse now than it was 5 years ago, which is worse than 5 years before that, and worse than 5 years before that. And I just don't understand, what are we doing? I mean, John, if I'm taking money from you for world peace and all I keep doing is starting wars, wouldn't that be a little bit of a fucking problem to you?
Well, doesn't it reminds me a little bit of everyone, of talking about like the homeless problems that are all over like major cities. It's like the problem is that it seems like the homeless problem doesn't quite stop being a problem because there's a lot of people being paid $250,000 to solve the homeless problem.
Yeah. It's not
so for sure. It is a constant loop that we're seeing, because for sure, I haven't looked it up, but I bet if you look up the number of gyms that existed 50 years ago versus the number of gyms now, we would be probably triple.
It's insane. No, that
10 times more.
I don't want to speak out of turn because I might be a bit across some industries, but it's grown every year. As a matter of fact, locations go up. Yeah. There was a contraction in 2020. But yeah, as a matter of fact, I think though it had nearly. Listen, I might have been reading some. I don't want to quote any of this and then just be like really upside down on it. But no, it's trending more. There is more gyms. There is more conversation. There's more money coming in to solve this problem from the consumer base. There's more money coming in, and we are not getting the results on a population-wide statistical impact. we are fucking up. Now, are there some people whose money and efforts and all stuff has come back and given them what they came to get? Absolutely. Absolutely. As a whole, it's not working.
Right.
And maybe that means we need to develop further into some of these, like we talked about last time, some of these tech spaces. There's a lot of other stuff in the larger wellness industry that um, I think is going to be, how do I put this? It's going to be helpful companions for you in the fitness industry, you as a fitness professional, because you do just want people being concerned about their overall health and wellness 24 hours a day. So if they're paying me to coach them, and then maybe they're going out and let me just look at some of these things, they're doing some sort of personalized nutrition thing, and they're buying supplements and they're buying healthy foods from the healthy wellness food sector of the business, and they're paying extra care to healthy, ethically sourced beauty products. Like, that's a person that is spending a lot of their day worried and a lot of their effort and energy towards their overall health and wellness, which I think it's a thing that helped me when I had first started getting into fitness. And I think it helps a lot of other people, is that your diet is not just what you eat, right? It's the things you consume, the content you consume, the things you listen to, the books you read, the shows you watch, um, where your vacations are, the apps that you use day to day. Like, this, just all that stuff that you consume is a part of your larger consumption diet. And I think if you're consuming fitness content, fitness focused content, just entertaining, that can frame this like new pathway that you're developing and can kind of like guide you through that and point you in the right direction as you continue to move forward. Because the worst thing that so many people do when they're starting as just a person who's looking to start losing some weight, right, is they get a gym membership and that's the only thing that they've got. And that's their pathway forward. And they get in and it's not enough, and they don't have any guidance, and they kind of still keep blinders on to these other things in their life. They don't eat better. They don't change their habits. They don't hang out around different people who are making healthier decisions. They still have all these other people going to Pizza Ranch twice a week and Chinese buffets twice a week. And it's tough to be healthy when you are still kind of surrounding yourself with that type of stuff. Those people get in and they don't have a broader set of inputs towards wellness and towards fitness and towards health. And so they get in, the water's not as welcoming or at least as tasty as they thought it was going to be, and then they back out. And that's, so I kind of do look to some of these other things as able to help these, as being able to help people move forward from that starting point. I think it's going to be very valuable, but that's our job as an industry now. That's like the one problem we have to solve, is we can't get a bunch of this one and done stuff. And it's about people not being committed, for sure. It's about lack of commitment. But at some point, these people need to be told you can't do all the same shit you were doing before. So how do we as an industry shape up instead of just taking money and failing?
Well, because the industry clearly doesn't give a shit.
Not
The
as a
industry
whole, not that I've seen.
not as a whole, like is shown, right? And I don't know if you've ever been like on a sports team or part of an organization where you seem to be the only one that like gives a shit or wants to be like pushing or trying new things or really being like the tip of the spear. If you're the only person, it ends up feeling like you're kind of just screaming into a void, like pissing into the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is that I think that there are several of you that are trying to do good with your gym, trying to be more than just a gym rat, be more than just a professional worker outer. But if you don't have support, if you don't have that larger ecosystem that we're talking about, you're kind of just pissing into the wind. And it takes more. It takes more people to be able to start to move the needle in a meaningful way, even if we're looking at hyper local, micro type communities. Even then, you're not going to be able to do it on your own.
And as a coach, it's the thing, I still coach some coaches who are new coaches and things like that as well about coaching. Here we're in the business consulting side, but I still have a couple of coaches that I work with directly and advise on a weekly basis. And one of the lessons still that needs to be taught for coaches very often is you can't just like care more about the person that you're coaching if they're not getting it. Like, that doesn't just get it. It's not that you can just care more, and you also can't care on their behalf, right? So what do you do if you're getting people in that aren't, like, let's just say generally, let's go back to this freaking client success ratio piece of data that we talked about a few weeks back, right? Ask all your clients what they want to do, what they're looking to accomplish. 12 weeks later, ask them how far along are they on that? How did they 100% reach that goal? 80%, 40%, 20%, whatever. But ask them that. If a lot of your clients your average client success ratio is pretty low, right? Like, what are we going to do? Are you going to care more? Are you just going to yell more? Are you going to be more compassionate? Are you going to blow them up on the phone more? Are you going to work them harder? Are you going to think about them more when they're not when they're not with you, when they're not paying you? That's not the solution. Mm-hmm. So the solution needs to be systemic, and your business needs to fit the pathways to success that are needed for these people, right? So your business model, it needs to be from your sales system to your marketing to your staffing to how you're handling staff meetings to how you're managing your client's experience from day one. Are you getting expectations from them? Is the whole thing set up with a high chance of success in the beginning? Or are you just getting a person and working real fucking hard for that person? Well, that's not it. You can't do it on their behalf. And you need to allow them. One of the things when I was going through this stuff, and I'll check my other note here, is for the industry as a whole, the trend, gosh, let me find this up top here. Okay, I got it. So there's kind of some research that's been done on the industry as a whole, more or less the wellness, the overarching bubble wellness, which does include some of the tech stuff, supplements, apps, beauty, e-commerce, whatever, mental health. Individualism right now is like the big thing. Things need to be customized. They need to think that the products fit them. They need to know that like that their path is, it's not just, now I'm going to just sign up for CrossFit. I'm just going to become a CrossFit person, right? It's okay. But that now, because it's a brand, it's a larger brand, that doesn't feel like that's for everybody. By the way, maybe it's not. But there's a lot of people that are never going to be drawn to that because it's not about them. It's about a brand. And that's a bit tricky if the initial impression that a client has is that you're not going to be able to tailor your products and services to their needs. No, I'm going to get stuffed through CrossFit. I'm going to get jammed into body pump. I'm going to get stuck on fucking spin class. I'm going to, you know what I mean? That's just what you're going and attending a thing that is not about you. And right now, individualism is like the biggest trend that's moving. The other one is just minimalism. Keep it simple. Keep it natural. When it comes to foods, people are generally getting more informed that they want things to be just me, right? It just needs to be the basics. They're not the days of being able to sell the most complicated supplements. By the way, that's fine. But you know, every time I listen to fucking Huberman on some podcast, it just makes me fucking crazy. Because he's like, so for just an extra like $2,000 and 45 different products you need to take a day, like you'll get a little bit better sleep and you'll kind of get this and kind of get that. And I'm just not into any of that stuff. There's too much information about it. And I think that's why the trend is for people to kind of close themselves back in and go, no, it's just all too much noise. How can I come up? What's the simplest plan for me to move forward?
Exactly.
Even more important is what principles can I extract? And I think even the Hubermans of the world and all the super smart sciencey dorks are going to go, the principles that you should extract are eat the basics, meat, vegetables. You know what I'm saying? Like don't be buying processed foods. Don't be drinking too much booze. Don't be smearing your skin with a bunch of chemicals. Like just fucking like, let's pull back to a natural way a little bit. Universally, I think that principle is understood. And I think it's better understood now because there is so much noise. And when there's science out there doing research, it's all based on a product that's being trying to sold. So every goddamn new little supplement I tinker with is like, oh God, there's just papers upon papers upon papers of the benefit of it. And I've never taken hardly anything where I was like, yeah, game changer.
That's it. Yeah.
What's John? What are the ones out there? Yeah, like creatine's like the closest
right?
thing you barely notice it. It's just it's slight, but it you know that one. It's just the research is so much there. I'm fine with it. But I've got 20 different bottles of God knows what supplements that I bought, and do you know what works? The only ones that have a measurable impact: caffeine,
yep,
steroids,
TRT,
creatine.
Yeah.
And I mean, nothing else are you going to just like feel or go, bam, hell yeah. Like, so like, so just like, and everybody kind of knows that now because the reaction to all the noise and all of this data is to be like, well, I can't possibly sort through this. It's also, there's no reasonable way that I'm going to spend all this money on all this extra bullshit to keep track of, because people want it to be simple. There's nothing I hate more than going to make my like my morning drink. It's not my protein shake here, but my morning like electrolyte drink, where I got to just open up and scoop like 10 different fucking things in there. It's like, it's a pain in the ass, and I've got the time and the know-how, and I figured it all out. Like and I'm not doing that all the time just because it's a chore.
But you didn't start there. And I think that this is like gets to the crux of like who you're trying, like what is your intended goal? And we have a couple of things that I think we'll want to talk about before we get too far towards here, but it's like, who's your intended audience? Who is it that you're trying to serve? And where do they need to begin? Because whether or not you should be splitting out your zinc, sodium, and potassium, whether or not you should be splitting those out into separate powdered version forms, is probably a much smaller, it's guaranteed to be a smaller population than how many people just need to switch from regular Mountain Dew to Diet Mountain Dew.
Yeah, let's prioritize here, right?
You know what I mean? Like, it's
prioritize. Yep.
But that comes down to who you're going to serve, and really this larger guiding North Star of like why you do what you do in this industry. Because I think that is where the crazy train went off the rails a long time ago, where it is the industry as a whole stopped being focused on making people fitter and healthier and overall just better, their overall like life being better, when it was so easy to make a lot of money very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we see that deviation. And the problem is I think new gym owners, and I think gym owners that are getting started or have been in the industry for a minute, I think it gets very, very distracting, because as you want to do better, you have snake oil salesmen or just fucking people that are sleazy that are like, well, the way you help more people is you sell more of X, or you do this, or you do that. And their soul is like corrupted. Like, it's fundamentally, foundationally, why they do what they do is so they can make as much money as humanly possible. So therefore, by design, you get sucked into that. And if you're not careful, it becomes very soulless very quickly, but you think you're doing the right thing until it's a little bit too late.
Well, next thing you know, you got some bald, red-faced fucking sales dork yelling at your team. You see that guy, right? There's this whole thing now on like sales coaching that runs across the internet, that if any of you guys, I want you to watch. I wish I knew the fucking guy's name. He's a clown. Just some fucking coked up alcoholic fucking weirdo, just like yelling at people like, if anyone on my car sales team doesn't have abs, they're fucking fired. It's like, we're here to have success. You can go home and tell your wife you couldn't close this deal. It's like, bro, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. You fucking dork. Get out of here. Like, go. I can't stand it stuff. And by the way, that stuff is so cringy. Your people who are coming in, who are already kind of a little bit hat in hand, and frankly, they're a little bit gun shy now, because fool me once, with the fitness industry, I got some shady bullshit. They locked me into 2-year contract, and no. Or then I went to some gym that was running some fucking sounded like it was a fitness thing that was all going to be free, and it ended up being some challenge, but I had to buy a buckload of supplements and like all these weird like layers that end up not being about serving the client and not being about making it individualized or customized. People are very gun shy. Now, I want to zoom back to this thing that you had mentioned a minute ago, which was like, what is your real goal? The failures of the industry is that we have failed as a fitness industry to increase the amount of fitness in our fucking country, right? That's it. Fundamentally, that's it, right? So that infrastructure is already failing, in my opinion. For you as a gym owner, one of the reasons that John and I kind of realized that that this is happening, and it's not just gym owners, there's lots of other factors, but for you out there, I think a lot of gym owners, and you, if you're listening, don't take this personally, a lot of gym owners want to own a gym. They want to become a gym owner. And that kind of was as far as it went in the beginning. They like fitness. I mean, it's a little bigger than that. I like fitness. I like being around people. I like working out. I do like helping people. So what was my goal? I want to own my own gym so that
I
I
don't want to
can
have a boss.
work in my own gym and work for myself. And by the
Mhm.
way, great, step one. But that's fucking easy. I mean, I get it that that's hard. By the way, I've done that.
Mhm.
So don't fucking come at me. Like I've done that with like my every last penny of my entire life savings and paying brutal tax penalties on withdrawing retirement money early to build the whole thing out, to do the whole thing. I've been there, done that, guys. But that's not a fucking finish line. And that's not a
Plus,
goal.
yeah, we've talked about it. It's the starting
not
line.
It's not a real goal. This
Yeah.
is it. It's just something you want to do. It's like, okay, but that's not impactful on its own. Just so you know,
Yeah.
because there's plenty of gyms that do that. They're just a spot where some people go train and have fun, and that's wonderful. But is that going to move the needle industry wide? Is more of those going to move the needle industry wide? I doubt it.
It's going to move the needle even in your community, like even on the smallest of levels in your little community of 30,000 people. Is it going to make any difference? You were not there on Monday. You're now there on Tuesday. Does it fucking matter? Does your existence fucking matter to anyone that's in your community that isn't your wife?
Yeah, or that isn't already a member in your gym. Like, is there anybody out there that's going, man, this place is just turning out success? Oh, by the way, your success, yes, it's you can say I'm successful, I've accomplished these things, I've helped these people. I don't need to seek external validation. But let's be real. If people in and around your community don't think of your place as a place where people go to get A done and they have a high likelihood to accomplish set goal, like you're not successful. That's not the reputation you want. If I need to get fit, I'm a person who wants to lose weight. Where am I going to go? I'm looking through the places. Where am I going to go? Who am I going to hire? Based on what reputation, based on what information do you have? Does that person have is like the highest likelihood of them being successful? I don't fucking know. But a lot of these gyms that were out there are opened by a gym owner who was just a fitnesser who got tired of doing day job, just wish he could be in the gym all day.
Yeah.
That's it. And that goal, by the way, I'm with it. Start there. It's better than nothing. It's better than Hardee's or working at whatever Hardee's, Carl's Jr.
Yeah.
Whatever your version of that is. It's better than that. Which probably
it's the single cell organism of this evolution, right? Like it's like you're at the very, very beginning. And I want to make sure it's really clear because right now, we're 20 minutes in. So if this isn't like, if you're very content being a single cell organism, you're very, very important and you're a special snowflake. But if everything we're about to talk about next is the evolution from that point.
Yeah.
And the vital importance of that evolution. And if that's not you, get fucked. Like, stop listening.
Just move on. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, because this is the conversation that I get excited about having.
Yeah.
I get really jacked being able to talk to people that are looking at those next evolutionary phases and making a larger impact than just being a place where you can like hang out and be God.
It needs people. You mentioned Elon Musk but this thing needs people with big goals, right? And now you and your gym and your small community, it doesn't require you to have a goal that says, I want 200,000 members or I want to help 10 million people lose weight. If you're in a town of 60,000 people or 100,000 people, it's like, okay, well, let's just talk about, we talked about this before, pounds lost in your community, pounds lost, or how many people have you helped to lose 20 pounds or more, 30 pounds or more, 40 pounds or more, 50 pounds. Do you like, is that a thing that you kind of have that you'd hang your hat on? If you're into having an impact in the fucking fitness in your community, I would think that would matter. Right. I just think it would. Is that something you're trying to do? Is it something you'd like to do? Some people like, they just assume that type of stuff is like just a byproduct of fucking existing in the fitness industry. It's like, yeah, I just kind of do it long enough. And then eventually I'll have a bunch of success stories. It's like, no, you have a few people who came in and basically a lot of times carried that torch, carried that water themselves. Right. They came in and they did, and they were going to do it. And you just happened to be the person that was there and had, by the way, everything in place that they needed to get done. But what about somebody who is a little less self-motivated? What about somebody that is not as well informed or as thoroughly inspired? as that person? Can you still help that person move forward by filling in some of those gaps? Or is the only way that someone can be transcendingly successful when they approach your business is for them to have already been at their wits' end, to them have already been at rock bottom, to them have already sorted out all the bullshit information, and to really be ready to commit to this one thing? Well, Jesus fucking Christ, you're not going to help very many people if that is the requirement. Then you're going to have to get out there and inspire and inform and do all this other stuff. That's hard to do. So your systems need to facilitate meeting people a little further where they are. Because what happens is people come in like that much and they get this, like at that level, and they get success. Because those people are going to be successful no matter what. This is in any walk of life, John. You've known kids that since you were 12 years old, you're like, that guy is going to be successful. He's just got it. Right? You just know. Some people can still be very successful. It's just not as obvious right up front. There's going to be a different journey, a different pathway. And a lot of those people, man, if one thing in their life goes left, goes right, goes sideways, goes up, goes down, like it can be in a very different situation. It can be a very different situation. And some, they just need the right correction or the right opportunity at the right time, and boom, they'll go the distance. So a lot of the fitness industry is predicated upon it. Really only your systems are really only going to work if someone's going to fucking do all of it themselves, kind of, and they're just going to do it in your gym.
Yeah. How are you going to handle that bell curve of humans? 10% are going to get fucked no matter what. 10% are going to be awesome no matter what. But then you have a very large population of people, the 80%, that are experiencing where it's at 25. On average, Americans will gain 1 pound a year from 25 years old on. That's a lot of fucking weight,
dude.
By the time someone hits, right? Like, think about it, right? Like they gain 1 pound on average. So assuming that you are a healthy weight at 25, which wake the fuck up, look around.
Not what I'm seeing.
Aren't. But that means you're looking at people 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight. And that's where it's like, what? And I guarantee you, out of that average, those people are going to a gym. They have a gym membership. We're not talking about people that don't, but this is where it starts to get, where we start to kind of parse this out of being able to make a real measurable difference. Like you said, Tyler, of being able to reach that general population that just needs that assistance and bring them in. But it has to start with you all as gym owners and us as people that are working with you to put you in a position to be able to do it.
Yeah. And these are almost like branding and vision exercises. And man, we've done this shit. I've done this in every business I've been a part of. Somewhere it's cool, somewhere it's really lame, some too early, some too late. Like, what is your impact statement? Kind of like, what is the impact that you want your business to have? Define that. And by the way, it can grow. And I'm also okay with reverse engineers, but it should still be a big one. And you know how you want to set a more approachable one is start with getting halfway there. You just got to get halfway there before you get all the way there. But just start with the big one, right? What is the big one? Was McDonald's? Was it simply, I want to serve 10 billion cheeseburgers? Like, okay, whatever it is, like whatever that is, fine. Something happened along the way before it got there. It didn't just go from 0 to 10 billion. But I think that for gym owners, it's, if you're really in it, like I want to help, like if you're coaching people for weight loss, if that's like a thing that you're doing for performance is great too, right? How many student athletes do you want to have come through your system? One of the best, John, you've witnessed this is, well, maybe not your college program, but a lot of these collegiate programs and coaches, like the thing that comes through this is like the coaches really are there to help these boys grow up to be good, successful men. And they use basketball and this 4-year experience and all of the community connections they have. That's what they do. And one of the things that I had seen, I think it was in high school as well, was 1% of these athletes are going to make it to play college football, and 1% of them will make it to the NFL, but 100% of them are going to grow up to be men. So when I'm here as the person who's coaching them at junior high and high school or whatever, like, what am I really doing? Am I trying to make them up into being this 1% so that you're still going to fail 99% of your people if that's the fucking outcome? Right. So great, you're going to fail all of them for the success of 1 or 2 or whatever. That sucks. But what if you're there really to give everyone the best chance they have at that? But your goal really is to make sure they become good men who are able to do thing A, thing B, the processes that they need to learn, the habits they need to build, the frame, helping them frame their own worldview. I think that's important, and I think that's an important thing that coaching. This is sports coaching I'm talking right now, but that type of coaching, I think that level of impact. I've known coaches like that. I know you have as well.
Totally.
But I've known coaches like that. And those are the ones that are really, really great coaches. And those are the ones that have a huge impact. There's school teachers that are like that as well, right? It's about something bigger than this. So what the fuck is it about for your gym? What is it? You tell me, so for us, for John and I in our business, we've always said like, I started with having a gym. John's owns a gym as well. Then I sold that when we moved overseas to start doing the kind of coaching process. So we were going to we were teaching coaches when I was with Strong Fit. John and I were teaching coaches and building educational systems to teach coaches how to coach well, so that people aren't getting hurt, so that we're able to like grow the impact. Because I can only have a couple hundred clients at my gym, but I wanted to spread, like, I think a pathway to a healthier world, to a greater audience, which is what we did there.
Well, and why did you even go to do why even bother to do the podcast?
Yeah,
you went to go do it.
Podcast.
So you sell a successful one, sell all your shit, and go to help run a brand new 0 episodes podcast, a brand new one in a foreign country. What is the desire? Like, what's that underlying desire that you had? What's the why? Why do it?
Reach. That's it. The message is we need the reach. We needed the reach. I needed a bigger reach. If I listen, I can do great things if I'm here just coaching 100 people. Absolutely can. And when I'm dead and gone, that will be whatever. That's a great legacy amongst those 100 people. But I had the opportunity to do it for 100,000 people.
And that's the time.
Yeah.
And that's the drive.
And I could have pulled back. So, well, I don't care. I didn't need this. I'm just going to be, I had a gym where I was the gym owner, and I could go to the gym and I could hang out at the gym all day, and I could work out at the gym, and I could be a fitnesser, and I could stay fit, be in a gym, be a fit guy in a gym. Great. Then I'm just like every fucking buddy else. Right.
And if you're listening, that's cool if that's you. But this is where Tyler and I are giving you a glimpse, like a window into a little bit of a section of our souls, because other sections are darker. But it's like a section into the more optimistic and positive parts. Because for me, that's how I got involved with the same organization. I started to go help StrongFit because for me, it was like, what you're teaching is too good. My background is in education, getting education online at that time when it was like nobody was doing it. You're talking like 2017, 2018, 2019. Like no one's trying to get stuff online. It's brand new. It's in this world. And for me, it was like, this is too important to only be accessible if you happen to find this fucking dude that shows up to 12 locations
or over the course of a year. Podcast episodes that have existed. It's just too hard to find.
$3,000 to get there, and you got to be in person. They're not going to be in your hometown. I'm like, how do we get this online? And that's where, for me, I make that jump to start helping, because it's like, I have the means and the skills to be able to get this more available to people globally.
Yeah.
And so that's where, this fundamentally, this passion that comes from making great shit more accessible to allow more people to use it to do more good in their own communities and their own people.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think that the wider your impact, the more lasting it is. I think it's important. And so I think it's great to have a tremendous impact on 10 people a year. Absolutely. But I think you can use that tremendous impact if you're willing to publicize, to speak about, to share. You can use that to inspire and guide and empower 100 other people. And from the sheer mass of that, you could use that to do the same thing if you're so willing to speak about those successes and leverage them into more, and then make that 1,000 people. And then you can keep drawing people in. Because I've said this with each of these projects that we started. My goal is to kind of chisel my initials into something permanent, right? That's what we're doing. We're trying to build something that has the reach that, when, at least for me, not every person at the very end of this is going to get this, right? But there will be many, many, many people who have found their way through fitness to a coach who's using a system that they really believe in, that they've educated themselves on, that they're also selling in an ethical manner and presenting products and designing these products in a way that can actually give these people a high likelihood of success, so that some people can have success on their first, second, or third attempt. And hopefully there's hundreds of thousands of those people that will trickle down from what we've done with this podcast and the other stuff. But this podcast into a business that's completely built on delivering a fantastic, high likelihood of success experience for their clients. That's my goal, is so that those people may not even know it, but that can be tracked down to the things that I've been working on and things I've been building for fucking years here, right? So, but that is important. For John and I, our goal is that the gyms that we work with get to the point where they're working directly with 1 million base level clients. 1 million clients is what we want our gyms underneath our network to have. That's an impact that we want, because I believe if that's 1 million people who are absolutely having the best chance of success, that this may be the last stop they need to make, or at the very least they get in here, they figure this out, and now they truly are empowered to go forward. Because when I look through this, I even wrote this on our list, like, we need to, if you're going to actually have the impact on society, people need to be informed on how to eat. Not everybody's there. John, you see all the Mountain Dew drinkers out in the world, like there's a ton of them, right?
Right.
I'm at the point now where if I see an adult, especially a man, by the way, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude, just drink a goddamn beer. There's less calories in a fucking beer than there is in a fucking Mountain Dew. Just be piss pounding Busch Lights all day. And I think that's less weird than a guy drinking 5 or 6 Mountain Dews a day at your job, which, by the way, I've done that before I ever started any of this. I was 5, 6 Mountain Dews a day, man. I've been there.
I've been there as well.
But like, they need to be informed. They also need to be empowered to think that they can actually do it themselves, so that they can kind of take that on. But that's tough, man. How do you do that if you're not already doing business with somebody? Well, now that starts to become a function of your social media, right? This is why your marketing and your business, all of this needs to kind of start to lean towards the desired impact that you're hoping to have.
But your desired impact cannot just be, like, I refuse to allow it. If you're listening to our words, it cannot be that I want to help one person. I want to inspire and make lasting impact for one person or 10 people. Like, the way you make serious fucking progress and impact is that you say the words, let people know that you want to help 1,000 people. You want to help 10,000 people. Like, let it be known, because that starts to bring people into your world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's, for us, that's where we want to tell you. It's like, we want to help 1 million clients. We want our people to have a network where they've worked with 1 million people, because now what is that lasting impact?
Yeah. It's 1 million people. It's 1 million families. That's
because, yeah, holy shit. Could you imagine just the idea of, like, it's all, if you drink Mountain Dew, like, it's like, that's your people that you niche down, you focus on. That's the group of guys, like men. I want to help people be men. You realize if you can get somebody to make that transition to care about themselves and to better themselves, what is that going to do for society?
Yeah,
to have more men walking around, being better husbands, being better dads, being better men in the communities.
I think if I was able to convince 1 million dudes who drink Mountain Dew regularly to switch to diet Mountain Dew alone, think of the impact you would have on just strictly the amount of fat these dudes are carrying around. Like, it's crazy when you start doing the math on what that means in pounds over the course of especially someone's life or a decade. It's crazy. So when we talk about this, so because when John and I discuss, like, the 1 million people goal, right? That doesn't mean 1 million people have to go through CrossFit Gym or Global Gym. This is why John and I's business model and our business coaching is set up to facilitate this pathway for these 1 million people through whatever fitness business that you want to do, as long as it's fucking matters, in my opinion. But that can be, I mean, anything. Every sector of this business is ripe for growth. Every price point is ripe for growth. I think everything, whether you're doing franchise stuff, the 24-hour model can grow. I think in my opinion, I think personal training will fucking pop off in the next 10 years. I think it will be, especially the ones who are willing to behave professionally and actually treat themselves like professionals. I think you're going to see a lot of much like CrossFit coaches when there was the big boom and you just had to take a weekend course. All of a sudden, everybody's a goddamn coach. Well, you're going to see that people are going to realize how easy it is to become a personal trainer, and you're going to see people doing that instead of becoming gym owners, frankly. And I think that you're going to see a lot of growth in that sector, but being a good one in that sector who actually gets results and can market it well and sells in this way and gives people a high likelihood of success, that guy, you'll be the best in fucking no time. Do you know how easy it is to be some of the best personal trainers around here? Fucking easy. So easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy. Megan's making more money than any personal trainer in town here that probably has ever walked through this town here, and was making that kind of money within her first 6 months.
Yes, she was.
And it wasn't based on anything other than like, no, I care. Here's the systems. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to market it well, and we're going to fulfill the product professionally, and fucking crushes. But you can, whatever it is that you're going to do, just know that like the sky is the limit. There's one thing for sure that I think people in the fitness industry need to understand is there is no scarcity right now.
No.
There's no scarcity until everyone is so fit and everybody knows everything and everybody's already got a place that they're going and it's working for them. And they're so happy and they're so connected to the community that they would never consider leaving and never consider trying anything else. We are a long fucking ways from that. Absolutely. So you do not have to worry. This entire industry has been so bad that almost everybody out there does not have allegiance. All of your target audience should be people who currently have no allegiance to any gym whatsoever. That's like it's the biggest blue ocean. It's like the thing. Hey, you don't go to a gym or you need to get back into a gym, we're your spot because blah 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 blah. Like there's just, if we're all competing over people who already go to the gym, you're a fucking idiot. And that's one of the things that I've always kind of like frustrates me a little bit about some of the, especially the older CrossFit HQ marketing that was very much about the competitive side of the sport. It's like, well, this is not going to get people off the couch. I'm afraid any more than watching an NFL game is going to get a guy into the weight room. This just doesn't happen.
You realize that I go to a gym where they allow pretty young athletes to be able to train on their own with general supervision that's supplied by the gym. So they have their actual staff on floor that then programs for every youth athlete that's there. And those youth athletes get to just train, lift weights and do real shit while they're there. And they don't need to have parents. Do you realize how often I watch parents just sit and watch their kids work out?
How crazy is that?
It fucking blows my mind. I don't understand. And a couple of them are dads that are overweight. And I'm like, and I've just, because I know them, I'm like, hey, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you just sitting there? I'm like, that's crazy to me, because there's a group of dads that I spend a lot of time with, and we like poker nights and dude shit, whatever. And none of them, zero, go to the gym. But they're all like incredibly like high hour intensive jobs, like 80 to 90 hour a week type gigs where they're like the boss.
Yeah.
And they just haven't prioritized getting their ass to a gym. Do they need to? Yes, but they don't. If you're fucking sitting and watching your offspring work out for the hour and you're there, yes, you are there. So as a gym, it's like, come on. So that's where it's like, it's again, it's you can, no, people don't have allegiance, and yet they're fucking on your floor, and you're not like, it's the bar is so low.
Yeah.
To be able to make the ask or to do just bare minimum things to be able to bring people into your world. But it really comes down to, what do you want to do? What do you want to be known for doing? And this gets a little bit back to like your impact statement or your ethos of who you are and what you want to do. But it's, what do you do and who are you trying to work with? Who are you trying to save? Who are you trying to make that impact with? And I think that this is where it starts to be where, as we look at problems that exist in the industry and who is going to be the ones that are going to move that needle, that as a whole, if we can get to, we get 1 million, it will be, it cannot not move the needle.
Correct.
You're talking about a massive push in a particular direction. So for you in your community, your gym, is your gym built to move the needle when it comes to fitness and wellness and health? Are you built to do that? Are you ready to do that? Because there are some gyms that I really like that I don't think are going to be able to do that.
No, and it's okay. And I also think whatever your sector is, like, then what real impact do you want to have? You know, we got coaches here that do primarily like youth sports performance coaching and stuff. Well, but just like you described, how there's kids in your gym who are learning to read a program, do the exercises, show up every day, do the work hard. At the sports performance gyms at Gordon Spot, like, he does great work. because these kids are coming in, they're learning hard work in the off season that it pays off. These are lessons that like I didn't really learn. And frankly, I think a lot of the people sitting on ass, putting on 5 to 10 pounds a year around here are that lesson was not imprinted deep enough when they were young. They didn't really learn that. They didn't learn it. They maybe did some stuff, but so I think your ability, like even if you're coaching youth, it's like, well, yeah, I can't coach 10 million kids out of my gym. It's just me. Well, perfect. But what are you really teaching them? What do you really want? My goal, if I was only doing youth sports performance, would be a certain percentage of the children that I coach, whatever that is. Let's say I would want 90% of them to still be lifting weights and exercising regularly when they're 25 years old. If that is the case, then from that, I know that I've really had a lasting impact. And then I can choose to grow my numbers. But if my system is built on them being successful here and them learning these lifelong lessons for health in their community, those kids grow up, those young men grow up to become good fathers, healthy fathers who stay in shape, who are there for their kids, who don't let their kids become Mountain Dew people. You know what I mean? You can't do that. And I think in every sector, by the way, what if you're a 24-hour spot? You don't have much personal trainer. You have some personal trainers. You're not dealing with like a labor intensive fucking business model, right?
Coach product.
Okay. Well, then maybe there's just some relationships you can build, right? Where maybe you make recommendations, bring in partnerships to handle some of this other stuff where you just are a facilitator. You don't have to execute, get kickbacks or don't for it. I don't care, but give your people a high chance of success. Bring in a nutritionist, host some seminars here or there, or bring in a nutritionist and let her sell it to your email list. Bring in something. Try to find person. Always be trying to figure out what can I do to make whoever my people are. If I got a $50 a month catch-all membership and no real upsell opportunities, okay, what can I do? If I can't get these people to spend more money with me, fine. If that's your model, right? You're not going to be a personal trainer. You're not going to bring in more staff. That's fine. It's absolutely fine. Then partnerships are your path forward because these people need more services. They need more customization. And as long as they're coming in and feeling that they're left alone in your facility, that's an opportunity that is being missed. So to grow the impact of that gym, that's how I would do that. If I'm a CrossFit gym, I would expand to making sure that people know CrossFit is accessible to everybody. It can be successful for everybody. That here's how we do it. Here's what it really is. We also have personal training. We also have semi-private programming. We also do real deal strength training at these times. And maybe you need to also offer nutrition coaching. We talked about that in the past in our recent episode about the biggest opportunity that I think CrossFit boxes leave on the table. Those are the things you need to do to bolster your chances of your people being successful and to grow your impact. Once that's established, from there, then you can turn up the volume. We've always talked about this. Don't just chase leads, chase profitable outcomes for you, positive outcomes for your clients. When you do that, then you can turn up the volume on leads and it sings a very beautiful song. Okay. You start turning up the volume on leads early on and those other things in place and it just sucks, man. Pure bullshit, pure feedback. It's no good.
And it does come down to where like you have the opportunity, you're creating your own, and it's not hyperbolic, but it is, right? Like you're creating your own universe.
Yeah.
Right. You're creating your own reality that's in your world. When someone steps into your world, they are now stepping out of wherever they came from, whatever. And for me, it's very literal, right? When I go to train, I get to shut my brain off. Mm-hmm. I get to go to a place that I don't like. My wife knows. Like a house better be on fire if she's going to call when she knows that I'm at the gym because I can shut my brain off and do this. That is what you are allowing people to do is come into your world. And since this is a new universe and a new world, it's whatever those people affiliate themselves with outside of your world, that's on them. But you have the opportunity to present them a whole new way of living and life. Mm-hmm. So the benefits that we talk about all the time of like, you are the result of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? It's you get to decide who are the 5 people, the 5 companies, the 5 things that your people are surrounded by. And this goes back to our ecosystem principle. But it is, what is that ecosystem that's built? And this is just like you said, even if you run a 24-hour spot or you run a highly coached personal training studio only, you will not achieve an audacious goal of having people lose 10,000 pounds or 100,000 inches, or make the difference that Tyler and I want to make in the lives of not only the gym owners and their clients, for us as an entire organization. But you will not make that difference unless you have those partners, unless you have 4 other motherfuckers that are in your ecosystem that all want to have lasting, impactful change in the community that they live in. It's a must.
So what do they do next, John? Come up with your thing.
Yep.
Right. Come up with your thing. I think it's important. What is you do? Let me touch on one subject here. Okay. A lot of us did get into the fitness industry because this is the type of fitness that we like to do, right? This is the way I like to coach. I want to share this because I think it can help in this way. And I do think that that's okay. I don't see anything wrong with that inherently, that like you have to pick. Listen, if you're a sports performance guy pivoting into extreme weight loss for extreme weight loss cases, like maybe it's just not your thing. That's not, I'm not saying it needs to be. You don't need to just pick the most impactful niche and then just stuff a generic business model through that doesn't have your soul attached to it. Right. Whatever it is that your soul is attached to, how can it be impactful? And I need you to think on that. That's it. Think on that, come up with it, and then set yourself a goal. Like, what is it? Is it I just want to help X amount of clients to teach X amount of goals? And I think when you start using things like client success ratio as a piece of data, like now you can start to actually see that being a real thing. We can help people hit diverse amounts of goals, like diverse types of goals. Maybe it's simply pounds lost. Maybe it's family fitness in your area, pounds lost amongst families. Maybe it's simply as to build a great community. Maybe you can't do huge numbers, but it's to build a great community where people are really like fostering a love for exercise and fitness and health and all this stuff. Maybe that's it. But figure out what the fuck that is. And then figure out how you can make that as impactful as you can, like for whatever your goals are. And if hey man, maybe you got another job and you are just trying to kind of meet in the middle and have some kind of impact, and you're not going to leave your other job. I know plenty of guys. They got good jobs. They have another project, and they are just doing this thing. It is a hobby, but it still matters to them, right? And they still want to help people. They still want to have reach. They're just not going to come in and, not everybody's going to start making electric cars and try to send people to Mars. That's not it. You know what I mean? Like, right. But no, like, fucking Henry Ford wasn't thinking about space travel, but nobody's like, Henry Ford, what a fucking loser. All he wanted to do is make cars. Yeah. But anyway, but figure out what that is for you within the framework of what you do. Don't take whatever we're saying here as a way of us like shitting on whatever it is your thing is, because it doesn't have the greatest direct impact on a massive amount of people and whatever the obesity crisis is in this country.
But let's give an example. Like, we all know who Arnold is, right?
Yeah.
Right. Arnold's goal was to be a bodybuilder.
To be jacked.
Right. He wanted to be jacked, right? When him and a bunch of young other males around the same age do questionable things on an island, all males together hanging out, just lifting weights when they're in 14. But they just want to get huge, right? They just want to get jacked. You just saw posters, but then it started with, I want to get jacked, but then it evolves to, I want to be
I want to be the best bodybuilder. And then he wins 3, 4. And then it was like, I should make sure that I have a personality that is charming. I can you watch Pumping Iron, immediately Arnold had his eye on transcending that part of the industry. Mm-hmm. But what did it really do when Arnold was obviously the single most charming and well-spoken and charismatic person on that? What that meant was this guy who was an absolute phenom in bodybuilding is now going to get that kind of message of like, hey, being jacked is awesome. Like lifting weights is fucking cool. Like it now gets to billions of people now. Just that message, like jacked guy, Terminator, freaking like all of that stuff is like, that's governor. Dope. And then it's like, I'm gonna be in all the movies. I'm gonna be governor. Like the sky really was the limit. But every time you see Arnold, what is it? Sort of his governor stuff. But anytime you're seeing Arnold, it still is framed in your head. What do you think when you see Arnold? I see it's this Arnold, this guy in the gym. It is that. I've seen him at the Arnold. Well, what is the Arnold? it is like this biggest goddamn celebration of whatever types of fitness there is, from powerlifting to bodybuilding. It's just like, hey guys, let's work on our like what a I mean, I don't know how many people go through that thing. They say a year, but it's a massive amount of people run through the Arnold every year.
Yeah.
And having been in there, you see it's fucking crazy. And when Arnold walks through, Arnold is God amongst all of them. Really is. There's a point in time, it probably is not the case anymore, but I would say even maybe back then, 2017, 18, would be like worldwide, was anyone more famous than Arnold? At that time, it like even and obviously even before that, but globally, like a kid in Myanmar
Right.
is going to know who Arnold is based on one picture. Is going to know who Arnold is. But it all ties back to then what does that kid wants to get jacked? I want to be fucking jacked. Being jacked is cool, right? And so that type of impact, I think it's important that wherever you start, but be willing to transcend it. Be willing when opportunities present themselves. Oh, don't shy away from it. Like this is, it's like Loki. Be burdened by glorious purpose every fucking once in a while. It wouldn't hurt you a little bit.
And if you find that you are burdened by that glorious purpose, like those are our people.
Yeah.
For Tyler and I, you are our people, where you are burdened with that next step of evolution. You want to be part of our million, because that what we do next gives you everything that you need to be able to do. You need to be able to have a coach the same way your people need to have a coach, and need to be able to have someone that's there, that's been there, that has done this, that allows it to be able to be done efficiently, effectively, and with your soul firmly intact in your body and in your business's body. Right. This is what we do. This is part of that larger mission that we did. At the end of the day, is a calling that we feel called to do, because there's a lot more than Tyler would prefer to do probably in his life than hang out with me a whole bunch on virtual calls all week long.
Actually, almost nothing I like less than being on Zoom calls, guys. You're like, it just means I like John so much. But yeah,
so
it's tough out there for a guy like me.
It's more than just liking me, right? It is that
you park a guy like me at a desk for half a fucking day, and you're lucky that there's not something starting on fire. So no, we're doing this for a reason. So for those of you out there, you want in, get in. Okay. Shoot us a message. There's plenty of different ways you can get started. So just shoot us a message or visit GymOwnersRevolution.com. You can just shoot us at Gym Owners Podcast. Message me at Tyler F. Stone on Instagram, or John. But yeah, get in, get started. I mean, if you got 50 members, 60 members, 20 members, 100 members. If you felt called by any of the things that we describe over the course of this last 100 some episodes, right? If any of this stuff has clicked, like, oh, that really does make sense. And maybe you've tinkered with implementing some, just know that like of your 100 clients, like that's 100 people that sit on our tally towards 1 million. That's 100 people that now like that you can guarantee when you start working with us, like all have a higher likelihood of actually achieving their goals. All are going to be brought in and brought through a business that is going to be modeled after you, what you want to have done, but also that's rectified with what they're trying to do. Those two things need to meet. You want to make a living, you want to have fun. These clients want to do whatever it is that your niche is. They just want to have fun on their spin cycle. Fucking awesome. Let's go. But let's make sure that if they're doing it for weight loss, that it's able to be something that's easy for them to come back to. It's easy for them to be consistent with it. We check all of these other boxes so that every one of your clients now becomes part of this upper tier of fitness consumers, which is the ones that actually get it done. And I think that's what's the most important thing for John and I, is that like there's too many people doing business with these fucking fools out there, right? You want to do some bait and switch shit and then hopefully sell your business to the person who is selling you the bait and switch shit. Go to the other guys. You know who they are. Okay. But like, if you want your shit to be actually about things working for your people and you making money in the process, like we're the ones. So that's enough trash talk for today. The industry's been bad. You guys are good. We still love you. You can do better. Any other dad talk we got to do?
No, I think that's it.
All right, guys. We'll get back to it next week. See everybody later. Love you. Bye.